Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is part 2 of planning a photo shoot from start to finish, and today is where we will create a mood board from scratch. And in the last episode of the series, I went through how I like to get my inspiration together and how I like to store it. And today we're going to be really taking those images that we saved the other day and actually putting it all together as one concept. So the first thing I like to do is just to go through my images, make sure I know which ones exactly that I want to put in the mood board and which ones are kind of like tying together overall in the theme. Sometimes it's quite easy to get a lot of really nice photos that you like together, and then you kind of look back at them sometimes overall, and as a concept it doesn't really flow. So I think that's a really important part of creating a mood board, is getting something that really flows concept wise. And also colors and toning is definitely an important thing for fashion photography, and I always like to put a color scheme in my mood board because I feel like that actually does tie a lot of the images together, and whoever's looking at it, whether it be the makeup artist or the stylist, hairstylist, they can look at those colors or those tonings and go, yep, okay, I know what I want to do personally for this shoot, or I know what I want to contribute. So I generally do the mood boards before I do anything else. So before I contact people, this isn't always the case. Sometimes I will have people in mind regardless before I've even created the mood board that I want to work with. And you don't have to do any of these steps in any particular order, but generally this is like how I would do it. Usually I would start off with the mood board and then get on to contacting people afterwards, because it's nice to have something ready-made, ready to go, and then you can shoot it off to a model or a makeup artist and say, hey, I've got an idea in mind, this is my concept, what do you think? And I always say to people as well with the mood boards, it's not set in stone, it can change, and I obviously trust a lot of the people that I'm working with, whether it be stylists or makeup artists, anyone, to do their own thing and to bring their own thoughts and concepts to the table as well. This is just kind of like a general piece of inspiration and something to go by and follow on if we feel like we're getting a little bit lost with what's going on in the shoot, or if we need a little bit more inspiration or ideas. So first off, I'm going to go through my images that I saved the other day and show you guys how I put that into my mood board. I actually have a mood board template ready-made that I do for all my shoots. So I'm going to show you guys how I put that in there, and basically just forming the concept overall and forming a color scheme as well. So here we are in the inspiration folder in the location/editorial. So what we're looking for are the images that we saved the other day. So I'm just going to scroll through. So the images that we had were from this shoot here. So I'm just going to click on all of those and drag all 4 of them into our Photoshop mood board template, which I have open already. I'm just pressing enter to get all of those in. So at the moment we have the Gigi Hadid photo shoot, which I really loved, and I feel like I don't think I'll be taking the inspiration so much of a studio look, but more of a location feel, because that's what I'm looking to get with it. So I feel like most of these are going to be coming under styling inspiration, because it's focusing mostly on the clothes, and we do need a bit of inspiration purely just for styling. So I'm going to use this as probably the main styling inspiration. I'm just going to Control T and make some of these images a little bit bigger. Now I kind of like the different textures with these 2 photos here in particular, with the fur, and then in this one with the denim. So I think I'm going to stick to that kind of theme with having a few different textures. This photo here is pretty simple and probably not something that I'm going to add to the styling inspiration. So I'm just going to delete that one out. This one here I love as well, but I'm still undecided on whether that will be under styling inspiration or not. But I am going to Control T and make it a bit smaller, and it can stay in there for now. I'm going to go back to my folder now. I'm going to have a look at a few other ones that we've saved. So this one here, this particular photo, I'm just going to make these a little bit bigger so you can see them a bit better. But this one here is something that I really, really loved. So I'm going to drag and drop that one into general inspiration, because I do like the general feel of it. I love the toning, and it's still kind of sticking with the color theme and also just with the theme of a kind of vintage photograph. So that can go in general inspiration. Back to our folder. I also love this photo from that shoot, and I'm gonna take this one here and this one because I love that color and the toning from the shoot, and I'm going to drag and drop that into general inspiration. So I'll make that a bit smaller so they can stay in there for now. And back to the folder. So if we scroll down, this was another shoot that I had included. Now this is kind of going back to the Gigi Hadid's shoot as well, with the different types of textures, but still keeping that very vintage, wintry sort of feel about it. So I'm actually going to move this one here because I loved this photograph. I'm going to drag and drop that. And I actually feel like this can go a little bit more under styling inspirations. So I'm going to have to make a little bit of room here and make these images probably a little bit smaller. We can leave that in like that. Back to our folder. And for the general theme, I love this shot here. I feel like this will look really cool in a location shoot. So I'm going to drag and drop that one. And then we had this one here, which I actually really love as well. I really love this photo because it's more about the environment that she's in and not so much about the clothing. But I'm going to drag and drop and see if that goes in with the theme. And if it does, it can go in the general inspiration section, because it's still kind of got that vintage photo look. So the general inspiration at the moment is showing more of like an industrial vibe as the backdrop, but we've also got these images here that have a little bit more of a greenery, and I feel like we could do a little bit of both. I'm just thinking ahead into shooting and maybe doing a little bit in front of an industrial backdrop and then possibly in front of a greenery backdrop as well. And I particularly like that even in this photo over here, how that sort of displays that. And I'm just going to go back to our folder and see if there's anything else we can maybe add to that. I actually also love this photo, so I might see if I can fit this into the mood board as well. Okay, and there we've got our theme for our shoot. So we've kind of got like a bit of a theme going where it's very 60s, 70s, and we've got long trench coats, we've got a bit of denim and a little bit of fur as well. So it's a very wintry, warm-looking, warm-toned shoot with maybe an industrial backdrop and possibly a bit of greenery in the background as well. And the lighting overall is pretty soft. There are a couple of images where it is a little bit harsher, but it's still got that nice toning to kind of make it that little bit softer as well. So this is what we're kind of working with at the moment. I'm going to go in and choose our hair and makeup inspiration, which I've saved to Pinterest. So first off, I'm going to grab this image and copy and paste it into our mood board. And we'll pop it under hair and makeup inspiration. And this was definitely makeup inspiration that I love for that sort of shoot. It's still kind of natural, but it's got a very warm autumn tone to it. And I'm going to go back. I also like this look here with the very strong brows. I think that can kind of look good, although I'm sort of leaning more towards this look at the moment. I'm actually going to pop 2 more images in with the hair because I'm really loving this kind of, it's almost like a 60s kind of look as well, but I love the makeup in this image too, so it's kind of like crossing over. We'll add that in. And then the last one will be this one here, because I love the hair in that shot. And that is pretty much what we've got at the moment. We're sort of starting to form a theme here, which I'm quite enjoying actually. I love autumn styling and I love retro styling, so I feel like this is kind of what I love doing the most. Obviously you can notice that the tones are a little bit different in here, so this is where a color scheme comes in to try and tie everything together and pick colors that are going to work well together overall in the shoot. So obviously I've got an empty location inspiration box here too. Now sometimes I will leave this blank even after I've sent it off to makeup artists or stylists or whoever I'm working with on the shoot. However, this time around I think I'm going to pop in a couple of industrial sort of warehousey kind of looking places just to kind of give a vibe overall for the shoot. There's not going to be anywhere in particular in Melbourne that I've thought of off the top of my head. And I'm going to do a location scouting vlog where I will take you guys along with me and you can see what I'm sort of looking at in terms of a location for this shoot. But for now, I'm just going to Google industrial backdrop. And we'll go to images. And this is kind of like perfect for what I was after. I'm just going to copy and paste that. So I'm just going to put a couple of warehouse kind of styled photos in there. And I'm actually just going to put a bit of text down the bottom here saying TBA, just to let them know it is to be announced in terms of the location. I'll put location in front of that. Now we are onto the color scheme. So I'll usually grab the selection tool in the square box and I will create a new layer and I'll hold shift and create little cubes. And then I'll get the fill tool, color fill, and then I'll hold down Alt on the keyboard and start selecting colors that I think are going to work well in this shoot, but I usually do it from the inspiration images just to try and kind of tie the whole shoot together. So at the moment, I'm loving this color here, and I think that's going to be a pretty prominent color throughout the shoot. So I'm going to try that one first, and then I'm going to go Control V, and just move that across and get the fill tool again. And this time I think I'm going to try a sort of more faded neutral color. Maybe that sort of color. And then Control V again. And we'll get the fill and maybe this time a bit more of a darker color. And Control V again. And this time I'm going to grab a navy color, I think. A navy blue would be really good for this shoot, I feel. I think I'm going to change one of the colors, and this is the beauty of Photoshop where you can sort of go back to different layers. And I'm going to choose a different color with this one, a little bit more warm toned, I think. Maybe like that. A little bit more reddish. And I think for the original color, I want to choose something a little bit more less peachy. But still bright. Maybe like that. And then I'll Control V again. And move up this side. Just keep picking a few more colors that I feel like might go really well with this shoot. I think red is also going to be a bit more of a prominent color. Control V. Kind of like that color still that I originally had over this side, so I might just leave that there for now. Just continuing on with the warm colors. I think I'm going to choose a blue though this time, or a grey. And then one more over this side. Like a really neutral colour. Alright, so we've kind of got our colour scheme up the top here now, and it's kind of grabbing a few more darker colours, and then if you've noticed on this side, there's sort of like similar colours, just a lighter or more vibrant shade, just so we've got something a little bit varied to work with. So we've kind of got our whole mood board now coming together, and now I can pretty much save this as a PSD, because I usually like to go in and tweak things afterwards and save all the layers. And I will also save it as a JPEG so I can send it off to the creative team and get their ideas and see what they think as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your tips are for creating a mood board and for creating concepts. I'd love to hear them down in the comment section below, and I'm sure a lot of other people would love to hear those thoughts as well. If there's anything particular that you want to see for this series that you really feel like you need a little bit more information on or knowledge on, let me know and I can see what I can do in terms of adding it into the series as I go along. And yeah, thank you very much again for watching, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!